Happy Friday, youth developer. I'm really excited to have Jaden Osborne here at the Youth Developer because that's right. He's an action taker. I met him a message to millions back almost a year ago. Actually, exactly almost about a year ago in LA. And one of the exercises is to network, to walk around. And he just came up to me. He's like, hey, okay, I'm ready to do this exercise, and we just met, took a picture. We talked about our passion. He's from Arizona. I'm coming over from Staten Island. And so I asked him, he was like, what do you do? He's like, well, I'm very passionate about working with young adults. So if you're a young adult, young professional, or young pros, that's how we call it at our church. This is Jaden, and he's going to talk to you about why he's so passionate about working with young adults.
Thanks for having me on here. I'm super excited. This is actually the first time I've been on anybody else's YouTube channel, so it's pretty cool. Thank you. My name is Jaden Osborne, and I'm from Arizona. I've been in Arizona since I was 8 years old, and so I've been to Utah, South Carolina, but so all over. But the point is that I'm creating a program specifically for young adults, ages, 16 to 25. I'll help anybody if you can. But when it comes to, sorry, I'm getting like feedback in my headphones. When it comes to like my program, what I'm really passionate about is just our own human potential, and it really breaks my heart to see it when so many young people get caught up in technology. And not that technology isn't great and is useful, and it connects us. We're able to speak across the country right now because of technology. So technology is great. Yes, Zoom. But when it comes to using technology as a tool rather than letting it consume your life and run your life for you, and that's the big thing that kind of got me to start being like, I need to help somebody or help make a change. And it kind of boils down to like, it's an addiction. We kind of, whether it be watching TV or looking on our phone all the time, or playing video games, like, not that those things aren't fun, they're good activities to entertain yourself, but we have a whole life to live, and we have a whole world outside. And a lot of people are getting caught up in the addictiveness and the stimulation of the entertainment options that we have, and we're missing out on life. And the point of life is to live it, and we're not doing that to our full potential. And so that's what's really concerning to me. And so I want to create a program that I've started creating a program. So I'm in the midst of getting all these things figured out, and I'm going to be doing my first seminar in a couple months. And if anybody wants to come out to Arizona, sunny Arizona, and come hang out for a little bit, I'll give anybody like an early bird discount or anything like that. But I can give you guys the info for that later. But the program is kind of designed to identify, okay, if I could do anything I want, if I can, pick any path in life, what do I want? That's the big question, isn't it? Like, a lot of people don't know what they want. And I was lucky enough to know, early on that I liked, you can see my guitars behind me, like, I want to be a rock star. Like, that was my thing.
Or right? A superstar.
Yeah, or a superstar. And so that was kind of that was my big dream growing up. And we all had a big dream, like, whether if you want to be an astronaut or you want to be a firefighter, but we tend to lose that into society, and we get the realism sets in, and it was 1 in a million shot to be a professional basketball player, or any of those kind of bigger goals. I see that people just start downgrading their goals, and what I want to do is to reignite that belief in somebody, belief in yourself, that you can do it if you just have the right strategy, the right resources, and the commitment to do it. And the big key is that if you don't stop working towards your goal, you will get there one way or another, because that's a law of the universe, like the law of inertia. If you An object in motion will stay in motion until an outside force is acted upon it. So you just have to have the persistence and faith of knowing that it will happen if you just keep on going and keep persisting. And that's what stops people from achieving their goals, is that they give up over a couple months, or even if it's a year. Like, the bigger the goal is, the longer it's going to take, or the more work it's going to take. So if you're setting a huge goal and you don't put in the necessary resources, aka work, to do it, then you're not going to do it. But you just have to know that it's all balance. You always, like, if you have a huge goal up here, if you want to manifest something that's like big opportunity, then you need to be able to realize that it's going to take some time. And so I can go into some examples of how that's happened with me. But long story short, my 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 thing is to help people pick a direction, decide on what they want, and then create a strategy and a map to get there, and to identify the opportunities that are all around us, constantly opportunities around, and then to review your goals, and to review and make sure, am I going in the right direction? Is this still what I want? Because a lot of times you'll pick a direction and you'll think that's what you want, but then you start going down that path and you're like, wait a second, this isn't as fun as I thought it would be. And then it leads you to something else. But it's all part of the process. It's all part of the journey. So
So Jaden, I love a couple of things that you talked about, like with persistence and faith and having that big goal that is as a guidance. And the key word that you said is strategy. And I know that's how you and I learned a message to millions, how to help people strategize that. So I think, if you were to pick maybe either first three steps or first three phases on how to go about finding out what is it that you want, or figuring out this goal, would you be able to share, whether it's three steps or three phases or whatever you want to call it, just something to get people thinking? I know that's part of your program, obviously. But just like, what's some of the questions or some of the steps?
Yeah, perfect. So, first you have to realize that it's different for everybody. There's not a step-by-step process to discovering your big goal or your big dream, or why am I here? That's a very big question. And you can go through a process to discover it, but that process is going to differ based on your goal and the person you are and the type of personality you have. The same person who is willing to go to networking opportunities and just go up to people they've never met before and start talking, that's not the same route as somebody who is more introverted and really can't do that. And I believe we can all push ourselves, but there's still, you got to play to your strengths. So I would say that the first step is deciding a direction. And it doesn't matter what direction it is, you just have to pick a direction, because if you don't pick a direction and start moving in that direction, then you're just going to be doing figure eights. And you're just going to be, oh, should I do this? You're 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and you're not ever going to get anywhere. You're just going to spin around in circles for years. And then you're going to wake up one day and realize, oh, I had a big dream and now I don't like my job, and now I'm like getting older and I feel like my life is passing me by. And that's what I don't want for people. I don't want them to feel like their life just passed them by and they weren't able to like live it. So the first step would be to pick a direction. So that comes to identifying what you like. And so I have a whole process to go through. For example, we'll use video games as an example. Somebody who plays video games a lot. That's totally cool. I played video games. Growing up in high school, like I loved playing video games. I don't really play video games that much anymore, but sometimes I want to unplug and I'll play something. But for the most part, I'm trying to stay progressing towards my goal, because I know that because I'm young, time is on my side. And so if I can put in the work now when I'm young, I can create and set myself up for the rest of my life. But there's also that balance of you need to enjoy life at the same time. Don't just work all the time, because you never know when that day is going to be your last day. You never know. So you need to have that reverence for life and enjoy life along the way. But so picking a direction, picking what you like. So take video games. I like playing video games. Okay, well, why do you like playing video games? Well, I like it because it's competitive, and so it's a lot of fun to be like on the top leaderboards. And when I am able to get like first place on that, like I feel proud of myself, and I'm so accomplished. And so that's one thing. So this is uncovering, if you like video games, what do you like about that thing? If you like going outdoors and hiking, what do you like about that? Dive a little bit deeper into it. And you may have to have someone ask you these questions, because really sometimes it's hard to ask yourself these questions. But so I like video games because of the competitiveness. Okay. What else do you like about video games? Well, the chat board and the being on the headphones and talking to people. Um, okay, so what that boils down to is a sense of community. You like being in the community and being able to interact with people. So okay, so you want something. If you're gonna do something, you can still play video games, but if you want to do something more in life, um, you want a community. You want something that has a little bit of a competitive nature to it, and you want to push yourself with goals and being higher up on the leaderboard. So that's getting better and getting better. So when you hit a goal, you're hitting that leaderboard, and when you set the next one, you're doing that for yourself in real life. So that's just an example of how we can take something that you like and extract like the fundamentals from it, and then you can apply that to, oh, I don't know what job I want. I don't have no idea what career path I want to go on. Okay, that's totally fine. Let's dive into what you like to do and what you find enjoyment in, and then we can pull out the characteristics of a job that you would like. And you may not think that you would like it until we really start saying, okay, like I like managing a team because of this, and it's more about finding the details of what that position involves rather than that title. So instead of like I'm a video producer, instead of video producer, it would be I want something that I can work with a team and collaborate and make big goals and work towards those goals collaboratively. That's like my favorite thing to do. So yeah, that's just, I could keep going on and on
No,
forever,
I
but
love it. You really took like step one, and really what you said is like diving deeper
yeah.
into the characteristics, or even like I know a lot of people when they get out of high school, it just makes me so sad, and the amount of pressure to find out what is that you want to do. And you go to college and you spend a lot of money in a lot of debt, and
Yep.
maybe it was the wrong direction.
It could have been, yeah.
It could have been, but like as you mentioned earlier, it's all part of the process, and trusting that may because going to college is not just for the degree, but you gain so many other skills.
Absolutely. I mean, I
In
went
there.
through college and I don't regret it at all,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
like it's the network, the skills, the
Hmm.
well-rounded, yeah, you just grow up more and you're able to feel more professional in the world just
Yeah,
based on all the experiences you go through. But
yeah, yeah. That's awesome.
the next step would probably be something along the lines of, okay, so you pick a direction, you say I want to go for this, right? And then you create a strategy and a map and a plan of how to get there and what needs to be done. So you map out not only externally what needs to be done, but internally what needs to be done. So I have this goal. I want to be a millionaire, having my own company. Okay, so if you want to be a millionaire, here's the goal. Then you have this side, which is your internal improvements and goals that you need. What do I need to do to become the type of person that can achieve that goal, that can be that goal? How do I become? Because you as a person need to become the millionaire before you get the money. You have to develop the skills and the mindset and the day-to-day actions of what a millionaire does before you can actually get $1 million. And so On the other side, you focus on yourself and your skills and your mindset first. That would be number two, is like you dive deep into like what is going on with myself, what are the habits and traits of highly successful and high performance people. If that's what you want to do, if you want to do something else, you just kind of like, what kind of mindset do I need to have about this? And you look at and you learn from people who have done it. So model and look at people who are successful in the thing that you want to do, and see what they did and see what worked for them. And you don't have to follow them exactly, but you can get ideas of like what works. And then the external part is, okay, so I have the improvements that I need to make, and I have the skills listed out that I need to build. And on the external part is, okay, well, what resources do I need? How do I build this business? What is the next step? So you would be like mapping out the next steps. Step one, buy a domain name for my website. Step two, build the website. Or maybe that's not the steps, but if you can take just little actions every day, even if it's something little, then that will get you in a snowball effect to be able to work towards your goal. And it becomes way easier to make progress if you just break it up into little chunks. But yeah, the external parts, like, and setting deadlines for yourself, and being strict with it. Let me highlight that, because you can set all the deadlines you want, but if you don't commit to doing it, then they are pointless. And the reason I say that is because I've done it so many times where I say, okay, by January 1st of 2019, I'm going to be in the best health of my life, and I'm going to have a six pack, and I'm going to, and I have these goals. It doesn't happen because other things get in the way, and I didn't fully commit to doing it. And it just comes down to priorities. So before you set any goal, before you set any plan, and you take the time to do a strategy, you have to ask yourself, am I ready to do this? Is this something that I really want to do, and am I willing to commit to doing it? Because if you don't fully commit, then you're going to have a tough time actually making progress. If I set a deadline for myself, especially if I'm in bed in the morning and I'm in a really comfortable position and I am warm and it's cold in the outside and I don't want to get out of bed, my even the biggest dreams do not matter. Like I could have any big goal in my mind. Doesn't matter to sleeping Jaden. He will choose sleep over anything. And so I've almost noticed this. There's these two sides of myself, and there's this side of myself that's like, let's become a high performer and let's go out there, achieve our dreams and all this stuff. And then there's the side that wants the instant gratification. He wants the Oreo shakes and the cereal at 11 p.m. and the sleeping in and staying up really late. And so it all comes down to balance and kind of enjoying life, but balancing it all out. But with the deadlines, what helps for me is if you tie it to an external obligation. So, for example, this call with you. This was great for me because this was an external obligation that actually, because I don't want to let other people down. And isn't that weird? How we'd rather not let other people down, but we're like okay with letting ourselves down.
Yeah.
That seems a little bit twisted, but that's the way it is for me at least. And so you start to become like, one of the biggest habits of highly successful people is self-awareness and self-reflection. Yes. So self-awareness, self-reflection, taking the time. And that's the other thing. I keep getting on so many different tracks, but that's the other thing with technology and the constant stimulus, is that because we're always like distraction, like look at this, look at scroll. Yeah. We never ever have time to just think, okay, well, how did I perform in that scenario? Or what about me? Like for the example, what I'm talking about, knowing like, how did I figure out that I'm more motivated by external obligation? Well, that took me to think, why don't I get up on my own? But when I have somebody else, needing me to be there, then I'm like I'm there no matter what. But I learned that because I took the time to ask myself that question. And so that's why it's really important to give yourself some time to just think. Like, it's okay to think, but people are scared. A lot of people are not scared, but a little bit uncomfortable with being alone with their own thoughts, because you have all these big questions in your mind, like, what am I supposed to be doing with my life? Or like, where am I going? Am I on the right path? And so we have all these subconscious worries, and they're totally normal, and they're totally like universal worries.
Mm-hmm.
But now we have this mechanism to constantly distract us. And so that's why, in my opinion, people tend to turn to that distraction, because there's these subconscious worries. But you don't have to worry about it. You just have to pick a direction and move towards it. But okay, so I have the goal, and then fully committing on it, and that is so important, because then you start to employ the other mechanics of like the universe, and how the, whether you call it serendipity or coincidence or anything like that. Once you fully decide on something, it activates a system in your brain called the reticular activating system. And the reticular activating system is something that triggers when you have identified a key target in your mind, and then you'll start to notice other things that are related. So if you start talking about, I really want to get an orange car or some, not, maybe that's a little bit too random, but maybe even like a certain, for me, when I was buying a car, I just bought a car, and I was looking for cars, and I said I really like those Toyota Rav4s. I want to have some space, and I can put my speakers in the back, and it'll sound really good. And then I started noticing those cars everywhere. And so you ever do that? I'm sure like
Yeah,
once you kind of put your target on something, then you'll start to just notice it everywhere. So the same
everywhere.
sort of thing, yeah, that's your reticular activating system. And so that sort of thing will happen if you choose a goal and if you choose a direction. So I want to be able to create my own program, and create and develop the connections of people that is going to help me get there. Okay, that's my goal, and then I'm thinking about it. And you have to keep thinking about it. You can't just, it's like our New Year's resolutions. You can't just set it one time and then never think about it again. It's
Right.
it's what we think about is constantly recurring in our mind, and that is keeping it active and keeping that reticular activating system going. And so that's why the review, whether it be weekly review, I mean, preferably daily review, if you have a note card, write your goal on the note card, look at it in the morning and look at it at night, and
Mm-hmm.
realize that if you are looking at what you are wanting to create and what you want to become, then you will do that, because that's what you're thinking about, and that's what you're creating. And because you're always thinking about it, you're going to be taking action on it, because it's always on your mind. But if you let other things get in the way, then you're going to forget about it. So you
Yeah.
have to keep it on the front of your mind. But the next step would be is setting up the system for yourself for success. Would be, setting up that, okay, this is my routine that I need to constantly keep it in the front of my mind. I need to create a system for myself to ensure my success, because if I just set the goal and let it go, yeah, it might happen at some point in the future, but it is going to happen so much faster if you can get a strategy down and a system for yourself to be engineering that process quicker. And so then along with that next process comes, you have the goal, and then you will start to notice the opportunities. And that's what happened with me. I said I wanted to, not only like with the program, and I want to create my own program, and then I see, oh, Ted McGrath's ad just pops up. Oh, that looks cool. And then because you recognize, oh, that's something similar to what I want to do, then you click on it. It takes action. You have to click on, or you don't have to click on stuff, but that's what I did. Like, click on opportunities. Go to opportunities. Like another thing. Uh, I wanted to perform. I wanted to play guitar at the University of Arizona before I graduated, and I was just thinking, like, it'd be so nice to play around a few times, um, just anywhere really. But then I was just getting coffee one day, and I just look over and I see a flyer that says, audition for performing inside of Dress Code, the clothing store. It's like, we're having this thing, sign up. And I'm like, wow. And so there it is right there. And that clicked. That's when it clicked for me, is that there is unlimited opportunities all around you. Just in your day-to-day life, there is opportunities just everywhere, but people don't see them because they haven't decided what that target is. And so then
Yeah.
they're not noticing it. So
Yeah.
yeah, deciding on that, and then being aware of the opportunities and taking action on those opportunities when you see it. Take as Earl Nightingale says, take action when your course is clear.
I love how we speak the same language, and that we're in the same path, and that we were able to meet
thank you
in
so much.
LA. So thank you so much for coming, for sharing wisdom. I know you're gonna come back for sure.
Nice.
And that wraps up our interview with action taker Jaden Osborne. You could reach out to Jaden for any questions at jadenosborne.coaching@gmail.com. And if you want to take action now, sign up for his free 90-day strategy map to take massive action towards your goals. And remember,
Healthy us!